we're seeing the perfect storm kind of molding. We're seeing extreme high car payments. We're seeing extreme high credit card debt. We're seeing that foreclosures, everything else is going on. And now we have the government shutdown that is also adding to it. And some of these people have super high car payments, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So we are at the car dealers and we're going to look at some of these cars because this is just getting out of hand. And you guys been sending me articles just like this one that I have on the screen that new car prices are topping $50,000. And while that is going on, the auto loan delinquencies are keep rising. So how do you go about all of that? What do you make from all that information? Well, this is kind of my take. When you have an auto loan and you're like, okay, as a car manufacturer, and we're like, we want to sell these high-end cars. What do you do? So I looked at the statistics in the last few years, and I looked at it in the 1980s. What was the average car loan? And now in 2025, what's it now? It went from like the 1980s where it's like 30 something percent, I have it on the screen, to now where it's like 84 plus months. So you stretch out the terms and all of a sudden any loan is kind of feasible. So I have here pulled up for Bank of America, if you want an $80,000 car loan, and this is not even like the most expensive one at one of these Toyota dealerships, because you can get way more expensive cars than that after taxes, fees, and licensing. So if you want an $80,000 car loan, 38 months at 4%, you'd pay $2,400 on just that note. So now let's look at how about 60 months for the same car loan? So all of a sudden your payment almost drops $1,000, and now you're at $1,500. And now we're going to go to 96 months. There's banks offering that. So all of a sudden, that brings your car payment down to $976. So you see, if you stretch out the loan, all of a sudden, it is really feasible. Here I got the chart. If you have the new car prices and the loan terms and the historical trend, you see the new car prices constantly going up, and so has the monthly payments. So now, since the 1970s, new car prices rose 15x, and the loan terms doubled from 36 months to 84 months. So back in the 1970s, the average car payment was about $110. Now we're looking at $760 for the same kind of car, the same kind of situation. So you're seeing that we are spending way, way more money on all kinds of stuff. And now you're like, well, 80 grand, that's you can't get a Toyota for that. Oh yeah, you can. And those aren't even the highest price models. So this one is right at this dealership for $71,000. It's a 2025. You got a Land Cruiser 74,000, and you got another one, an I-Force Tundra for another $71,000. They put some discounts in there, but if you're going to go into that office and you're going to go into that booth and you're going to step on that lot and you're going to sign on the dotted line, it is not their job to educate you how much you can afford and how much you should allocate towards it. They're in the business of selling cars. And if you're going to go in there, school and life lessons should have taught you that, hey, this is how much I can allocate towards my car payment. This is how much I can allocate towards that. Hey, just real quick, you'd really help me out if you'd like and subscribe. And let's continue on with the video. And if you're gonna wrap $700, $800, $900 into a car and you cannot afford that, you're basically really sabotaging your own future. If you're making $160,000, $200,000, $300,000, you have a $2,000 car payment, you're good. But if you're making $70,000, $80,000 a year and you're making $800, $900 car payments, you got to reevaluate what is a priority and what do I want to do. And when I'm looking at these car dealers online, they say, oh, we got 40, we got 60, we got $80,000 cars, and now they want to trade it in after they purchased it a year or two later, and they're $20,000, $30,000 in negative equity. So we're going to watch a video here of this guy with extreme negative equity.
Oh.
What is it? What
Oh,
is
it's not good.
What is it?
Hold up. Just guess.
Is it 40 grand negative? It's higher than 40 grand?
Yeah.
Get out of your... How? He put negative equity on this one too. He had to, because the car MSRP was 113.
Well, I'm sure he did. It's a 2023. Oh, man.
God.
Oh, some of these are brutal.
This is annoying.
Yeah, he's about 46 flipped.
God.
That's interestingly not even the worst that we've seen. But unfortunately, he's probably had a multiple string trading in and out of cars, rolling negative over and over and over again. And at this point, his only way out realistically is an EQ.
He's ready to do that. He wants an AMG.
What about an AMG EQ? You should at least present the option. You just got to keep it real with him. Be like, listen, dude, you've got two options at this point. You can either do everything you can to pay this thing down as quickly as you can,
Or put the difference down.
Or that.
And get whatever you want.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Just looking at the amount of negative that he has here, it's pretty clear that there's at least 2, if not 3 cars in a row traded in with negative equity that have gotten him to this point. Eventually, you're going to have to break that cycle, and then you're just not going to get the ideal dream car unless you want to come up with all that money down. Just say, I have a way out for you, and that means a little bit of pain and suffering for 2.5 years in an EQ. He has to lease.
Well, yeah, obviously.
He cannot buy another car. If nothing else, just tell him, look, just promise me you will not buy another car because you don't keep him long enough. Not only that, but he's driving like 20K a year. He is exactly a high mile lease person. Look at this. He's 45 grand flipped after 1 year and 23,000 miles almost in a car. Unless he does 36 or 48 month finances, he'll never be able to pay a car down quickly enough based on how much he depreciates it. Plus, he got into a minor accident on this one, and look what it did to his trade value. That's why you can't buy cars like that. At this point, I just want to help the guy. I'm not saying that he's going to necessarily buy a car from us, but I don't want him to keep ending up in these scenarios.
And then we just saw this guy's like $46,000 negative equity. Yeah, it's a luxury car, but they depreciate. And so this is what people are looking at. They're like, man, now I'm upside down so much, I might as well just give it back to the bank. And all of a sudden it's like, ooh, didn't do a good decision. And this is not the exception. This is probably the normality. And yeah, it is absolutely crazy when you're looking at cars like this. And it's just like, man, we are in trouble. And we're like, man, $46,000. If you're thinking about 46,000, you could have used that as a down payment somewhere else. But people want to drive it. People are like, let me get that. Dealers are seeing, manufacturers are seeing, oh, that's something that people want to do because they keep buying it. So we'll keep producing it. If there's no downwards pressure, if people aren't really buying cars that expensive, then prices come down, supply and demand. But people are like, I'll just buy it. We'll stretch the loan terms out. And then a few years down the line, like, I don't want to do that. And so it's really important. If you want to get that 100% out of your system, you're like, I got to go and get a Beamer. I got to go get this luxury cars. And I'm just going to, do it. You got to get into a fixed term, like something like leasing where you do it for a few years, you get it out of your system, and then you have an exit value where they say, okay, this is going to be it. And you just need to make sure that it's not dented or scratched or something else where they're going to squeeze another few hundred or $1,000 out of it. But at least you have an exit value amount. And if you buy one and you just drive it off the lot because you got in there, didn't educate yourself, and then it's like, okay, you're done. So now, when you're in a situation like I need something, it is absolutely crazy that you have to know what your monthly budget allows. And I've been telling you for the last few years that everybody's good till they're not. Everybody has money till they're furloughed, till there's no money coming in, till they're saying, you know what, stay home and you don't have to come to work today. And people with good jobs messaged me and said, oh, that's not an issue. I'm a federal employee. They always do back pay. They always do this. Well, sometimes they don't. And if you're looking at it like, man, this has been now going on, this shutdown's been going on for 30 days. And now all of a sudden I'm like, man, I don't have that much savings. And where's that going to come from? So then there might be a loan that you need to take out. And then instead of using the back pay towards the loan, something else pops up, a health issue, this or that, and you're not going to pay back your loan, and you're getting into a bigger and bigger snowball of just that. And that happens. And so this is why I always tell people, you need to look at the numbers, be realistic, know what you're buying, and make sure that you don't have, so you have 1 or 2 co-signers, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's getting dicey, I can't keep it. And then either you give it back or something happens to you, and these other co-signers are in trouble because of your financial decisions. And don't get me wrong, if we could and if it wasn't too expensive, everybody would love to drive a luxury SUV, a luxury truck, but you have to know that it requires sacrifice. And if you want to drive one, you gotta think about it like this. You gotta start living like nobody else, so down the road you can live like nobody else either. And so what do I mean by that is, I mean by that is, you gotta save money, you gotta do it, and you save up half a down payment. If at $80,000, you save up $40,000, $60,000 to then buy a $100,000 vehicle if that's what you really want to do. But I bet you, if you're gonna save up 60 grand and it's taking you, I don't know, a few years to do it, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Now I want to go buy that car. I bet you're not gonna do it because it's like, man, I saved up for so long. I am 100% not gonna spend my money on that now. I have other investment opportunities. I have on other stuff that I can invest in, or I got other priorities, or buy a house or buy an investment property, rather than just dumping your money into a depreciating asset. And when I'm talking about the perfect storm, I'm looking at all this stuff going on, I'm just shaking my head, because people are still out there spending ungodly amounts of money on cars they can't really afford. Is when I'm looking at these Lincolns, I'm looking at these high-end Toyotas, I'm looking at it like, man, you got to wrap up either a lot of down payment, or you have a huge monthly payments. And like I said, it can go right for a long time till it doesn't. And then the problem, this is a US thing, is that if tragedy hits and the bottom falls out, and you're like medical, that you're in furlough, you're doing all that, you fall really deep. In Switzerland, they have safety nets in place, you're not going to fall as deep. But here, as much as you can climb, you can also fall. And you always have to have insurance in place. I stress it all the time, but people are like, nah, I don't need it. Not gonna hit me, you know. Oh, that boat next to me is drowning, and then the boat's, taking on water. I have a sump pump, don't worry. I'll get the I'll get it out. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, now my boat's capsizing because I shouldn't have went out in this storm, or I shouldn't leverage myself to no end. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, now what do? They call Dave Ramsey up, and Dave Ramsey said, you need to take out a loan, get rid of it, and then you're gonna make payments on a car you don't even have anymore. And this is what people get themselves into. And you've seen it during COVID, where these car dealers were asking $20,000, $30,000 more than the actual car was worth, and people were paying it. If you're sitting in a finance booth in here and you're just like, I just want to drive it off the lot, just do whatever, and they'll do whatever, because they're like, hey, we'll take your money. Comes to find out, it wasn't such a great idea after all. And then you're like, oh, now I'm in trouble. Now I'm in a car. I'm paying on a car that I'm still paying on, that's like worth half of what it is. And so, not so smart after all. But there again, American consumers, and school doesn't teach you, because your school teacher probably lived the exact same life and was probably like over leveraged, drove in too nice of a car than he could actually afford. And then you get yourself in trouble. So use an AI tool, run the numbers, make sure that this is something you can afford, and make sure that that amount that I'm allocating towards a car, if I get a fixed term on a loan, it doesn't mean that insurance is not going to go up. Everything else isn't going to go up. But like I said, Americans do really stupid stuff when it comes to money, because they got to impress their neighbors. They got to impress people in the stoplight. Oh, I can make it up with the next paycheck. Oh, I do this, or I do that. And then, look at that. What's up? So then, and then all of a sudden, you're in trouble. And I'm always like, man, you got to think a little bit. You got to think, what's my future self going to say off of this moment? And I know the dreams are nice. And I also was one of those people. I was like, let's go and get a Raptor. I always wanted one. But till this day, I couldn't stomach the payments. I couldn't stomach it. And so I couldn't do it. But there's people that make less money than me that drive one, and I was like, I just can't do it, because I have other goals in life. And I'm not judged by the car I drive. I'm not judged by anything. And I'm in a race of my own. I'm in a journey of myself. Like, when I talk to people in my comments section about journeys, and I see people like, oh, I'm furloughed, and some people are like, I have no debt and I'm actually doing okay, and I feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own life path that they're going down towards. And when I see some people take the struggle route. Some people take the easy way, easy money, easy way, and they just kind of chug along, and they don't take on any risks really. They just kind of take the easy route and go down that path. Then there's other people that just constantly, and I have friends like that constantly make the struggling decision. Everything's a tragedy. Everything's like that. And I was like, man, you're making these decisions that I would never do, and then you're surprised on the outcome. If you keep repeating the same thing and expect a different outcome, it's just not going to happen. And so if you want to change your habits, you got to look at your past behavior that got you today, and then see, do I want to continue that trend, or do I want to go out and change it? And if you're living in the Western world, because I can't speak for Asia, but if you're living in Europe, the United States, or Canada, you can wake up tomorrow and realize that something's wrong, and I've been living in a world that is an utopia that doesn't exist, and I have to change. I have to change about my credit. I have to change about my lifestyle. I have to go walk more. I have to be out and about. I can't be eating pizza and Netflix every day. I got to do something else. I got to eat healthy. I got to realize and use credit the right way, and starting to make better decisions for myself. And you will see your friends will change. You will have better friends, and you will have more supportive people around you. But you got to realize today that your decisions from the past impacted you where you are today. If you've been eating healthy and you've been exercising and you've been feeling good, those past experiences brought you here, and they brought you to make you feeling good. And if you've been eating like crazy and you've been taking out crazy car loans and you're in debt to your eyeballs and you can't do it, then you got to look at your past and see, this is why I got here. And I can't do that for you. I'm just bringing you awareness of like, what do you got to do? And the same goes if you're a business owner and you're looking at it like, oh, I financed this, I leveraged myself, and this didn't come true what I was predicting, and now I'm in trouble. And so this is why you got to run the numbers, understand your situation, understand how much money do I have, how much money's coming in, and how much is going out. And it's funny because Kevin O'Leary talks about it all the time. Money doesn't have emotions. It's either positive or negative. And you can look at your balance sheets. Am I in the positive? Am I in the negative? And that's what's gonna happen when you're starting to realize, like, maybe I shouldn't do these bad decisions, or maybe I should get a car that is a lot cheaper because I don't need it, or then I'm gonna go down the lease path and I'm gonna drive it for 3 years, get it out of my system. And I'll bet you, and this happened to me before, where I thought that's gonna bring me happiness, that's gonna bring me joy, a year or two down the road, it wasn't like that. That's why these people that buy Ferraris, they buy Lamborghinis, they have 3,000 miles on it, then they sell it again because it wasn't what they thought it would be. And some people try to find fulfillment in cars and fancy houses, and they're trying to fill a void. And then you see like, ooh, that didn't do right to me. And actually getting any kind of car that just drives, has air conditioning, is good enough for me. Maybe tinted windows so it don't burn up in the sun. That's all you kind of need. And then you're like, okay, let me put that money aside and let me go buy a house. All of a sudden you're a homeowner. And then you're like, oh man, now what do I want to do? Maybe I want to contribute more to my retirement funds and doing all that. So this is kind of the situation that a lot of people are in. And if they realized it early enough, they could have changed it. But once you're in debt to your eyeballs, you just can't see, and you're just seeing, you're like, oh man, I just see bills, bills, bills. You got to get into the environment where let's change that. But you got to realize at first that that is happening, and that you actually want to change it and not just sit there. And my grandma was one of these people that were just sitting there and just didn't want to change. She was like, oh, this is sad, but this is just my situation, and never wanted to change anything about her situation. And so she never did anything really exciting in life. And so if you want to do that and you want to get excitement, you want to travel the world, you got to do that. It starts with better money habits. And yeah, you can go on credit cards and then file bankruptcy, but that's not the way that I accumulated wealth. It's not the way that I would recommend. But yeah, that's kind of for this video. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.